United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is located on northwest Europe between the North Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. It is an island country and the ninth largest island in the world. The current population of the United Kingdom is 68,294,438 estimated in August 2021 by World Matters Info. Most of the total population in the United Kingdom is concentrated in England. London, which it is the capital city, is considered the political and economic center of the United Kingdom. Fish and chips, most popular dish, the Big Ben, British Icon, the red double-deck buses, the Black Cabs, Oasis, Music Band, Mr. Bean, the Beatles, the Piccadilly Circus in London, capital city, and tea drinking the most important tradition. Great Educational Institute England holds some of the most famous universities around the world like Oxford, Cambridge and London universities. The English language, which today is spoken by hundreds of millions of people around the world. Greatest pop stars and music bands in the world are British, such as the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, David Bowie, Queen, Phil Collins, the Spice Girls, and Oasis. Regarding literature, William Shakespeare is one of the most famous authors worldwide. He wrote classics like Hamlet, Othello, and Romeo and Juliet. The ancient civilizations. The Celts were thought to come to Britain around 500 before the Common Era. The Common Era begins in year 1 in the Gregorian calendar. The Celts came originally from Central Europe and settled in Britain, France, and Spain. Roman and Greek writers describe Celts as fierce and warlike people. They were originally ruled by kings, but by the time Julius Caesar came to Britain, around 500 before the era, they had broken up into many tribes, which each with a different leader. In the Celtic culture, the Druids were an important part in their society. They were members of the learned class among the ancient Celts. The Druids also offered human sacrifice for those who were gravely sick or in danger of death in battle. Huge wicker work images were filled with living men and then burned. Although the Druids preferred to sacrifice criminals, they would choose innocent victims if necessary. The Celts lived in huts of arched timber with walls of wicker and roofs of thatch. The huts were generally gathered in loose hamlets. During the time when the Celts occupied Britain, there was a huge growth in the number of hill forts. These were small ditch and bank combinations encircling defensive built hilltops. The Celtic farmers. The Celts were farmers introduced the iron plough to Britain. The ploughs that were used earlier were not very sophisticated, basically a stick with a point and harnessed behind two oxen. The heavy iron plough developed by the Celts constituted an agricultural revolution all by themselves. The Celtic's designs. It is a Celtic lunar sign that is shaped like a helix and includes a ring that connects the three ties that represent the union and the cycle of life, also eternity. The same for the next. One of the most distinctive Celtic designs is the cross, which is still used for graves and memorials. This cross has been adopted as a representative symbol by some people who are from Ireland, country that belongs to the United Kingdom. Vikings. From around 860 AD onwards, Vikings stayed, settled, and prospered in Britain, becoming part of the mix of people who today make up the British nation. They traveled in long ships called dragars, which were long, narrow warships decorated with dragon heads. Undoubtedly, without ships, the Viking expedition in Europe would have not been possible. Without a knowledge of navigation, their ships would have been of limited use. The Vikings had many gods. According to the Eddas, the most powerful god was the one-eyed Odin, the All-Father, god of warfare, justice, death, wisdom, and poetry. Probably the most popular god, however, was Thor, who was stupid but incredibly strong. With his hammer Mjolnir, crafted by the dwarves, He was the main defender of the god against the giants. He was also the god of thunder, and he was particularly worshipped by seafarers. Amulets of Thor's hammer were popular throughout the Viking War. Anglo-Saxon. The Anglo-Saxon period lasted for 600 years, from 410 to 1066, soon after the death of Edward the Confessor, who had no heir. The Anglo-Saxon period lasted for 600 years, from 410 to 1066, soon after the death of Edward the Confessor, who had no heir. Invading Britain was an attractive target for the Anglo-Saxons. The first intent of dominate occurred in the south and east England in the 4th century AD, but they were beaten back by the Romans. The invasion was successful after the Romans left Britain in 410 CE. The king must be a generous ring giver, hence this means that he must dish out the spoils of war to his thanes rather than stock or keep the treasures won in tribal warfare. They formed several kingdoms, often changing and constantly at war with one another. These kingdoms acknowledged one of their rulers as a high king, the Bridwalda, by 650 AD. There were 7 separate kingdoms. The first was Kent, settled by the Jutes. Ethelbert of Kent was the first Anglo-Saxon king to be converted to Christianity by Sir Augustine around 595 CE. King Alfred was called the Great because he defeated the Vikings in the Battle of Edington in 878. By 850, the 7 kingdoms have been consolidated into 3 large Anglo-Saxon kingdoms: Northumbria, Mercia, and Wessex. The Anglo-Saxons had been Christian people. They proposed the days of the week as follows: Monday, month's day, the day of the moon, in Old Norse many moon. Tuesday, twist day, the day of the god of war and combat. Tew, or the North Tyr, was also known as the sky god and was recognized as the most skilled in swordplay. Despite having only one hand, he was also famed for his honor, justice, and courage. Wednesday, Woden's Day, the day of the chief Anglo-Saxon god Woden, Norse Odin. Also associated with war, Anglo-Saxon warriors would look to him to protect them on the battlefield. Thursday, Thor's Day, the day of the god Dunor or Thunor, one of the most famous gods in Norse mythology. Thor is widely recognized as the hammer-wielding god associated with thunder, lightning, and fertility. Friday, Frigg Day, the day of the goddess Frigg, Norse Frigg, wife to Woden. Woden's wife was the goddess of love and was associated with all things to do with home, marriage, and children. Saturday, Saturn's Day, the day of the Roman god Saturn, whose festival Saturnalia with its chains of gifts have been incorporated into our celebration of Christmas. Sunday, Sun's Day, the day of the sun, in Old Norse Sol, Sun.